We'll take a little trip over yonder, so I can take a look around at what you've seen. I can see from where I am you're on an adventure, in a place you can't describe. Some things can't be captured in...
Alright, what's up mga kamatler, na isang magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ito pa rin ang inyong abot kamay na mga teacher, si Sir Ash. At kapag kayo ay bago pa sa ating channel, ay marapat na i-click ang subscribe button at notification bell para mas laging updated kayo sa ating mga discussion tungkol sa mathematics. Alright. And today, my dear math learners, ay magdidiscuss na naman tayo ng isang panibagong discussion for the quarter 2. And this is the part 6 para sa ating mga grade 10 students. And this is all about the distance formula. So, quarter 2 pa rin tayo, my dear math learners, at ngayon ay i-discuss natin ang tungkol sa distance formula na kung saan ay isasali din natin ito ang midpoint formula as well as the coordinate proof. So, what is this all about, my dear math learners? Okay, so this is our module for today, grade 10. Quarter 2, Module 6. Okay, at simulan na natin ang ating discussion. Okay, so for the first page of our module, you will see your cover page. And then on the second page are the people behind this module. So disclaimer lamang po mga kaibigan, ang ating dinidiscuss dito sa channel ay hindi pagmamay-ari ni Math Teacher Ash. Instead, ito ay gawa ng mga tao sa Department of Education at nandito lamang po ang ating channel para tulungan kayo sa inyong pagkatuto sa ating mga lessons sa mathematics. Alright. Okay, on the third page, you will have your title page, and on the fourth page is the introductory message for the facilitator. Ito yung mga teachers ninyo at for the learners, at ito yon kayo mga kamath learners. Okay, so now let us continue. On the fifth page, of course, ay malalaman ninyo ang mga objectives sa module na ito. So ang tanong, ano ba ang mga objectives for us today? Okay, so specifically, doon na tayo specific. So we will derive the distance formula and the midpoint formula. So dito ngayon, malalaman nyo kung ano ba ang distance formula at ang midpoint formula. Pangalawa ay para malaman ang distance ng dalawang pair of points on the coordinate plane. Pangatlo is to draw geometric figures in the Cartesian plane. Pang-apat is to apply the distance formula to prove some geometric properties. At ang panglima ay to solve problems involving distance formula and midpoint formula. Okay, so napakadali lamang ng topic natin for today, my dear math learners. Okay, so after you know the objectives of the module, then you will be given the pre-test. So ito yung let us try activity natin. So no pressure, my dear math learners. Ito ay series of questions in a multiple choice type. So that is A, B, C, D. At ito ay 10 questions para sagutin or para malaman kung meron ba kayong prior knowledge tungkol sa ating discussion or sa ating topic for today. Alright. And then after that is the introductory discussion for the topic itself. So ito yung let us study. So ano ba ang dapat nating malaman bago tayo dumako sa midpoint formula at sa distance formula? So first and foremost, kailangan alam mo paano mag-plot ng points sa isang Cartesian plane. Okay, so alam naman natin na sa Cartesian plane, ito yung binubuo ng y-axis and the x-axis, na kung saan ang intersection ng y-axis at ng x-axis, ito yung 0, 0 point, and that is known as the origin. Alright, so if you are still parang wala pa kayong idea paano gumawa or mag-plot ng mga coordinates or ng mga points sa isang coordinate plane, you can check out our video in our playlist, and that is in our grade 10 playlist, how to plot points on a Cartesian plane. Okay, so napakadali lamang ng topic na ito. So of course, when we talk about coordinates or the location of points, it is being given with two distinct coordinates, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So ito yung x and y. So this x will refer for the x-axis and this y will refer to the y-axis. Okay, so x and y yan siya, my dear math learners. Okay, so let's consider the first point. So these are points A to K, right? And with their respective coordinates. Okay, so for point A, we have -6, +7. So it means that we have -6 for our x coordinate and +7 for our y coordinate. So since it is -6, so we will go in the left side of the 0. So since this is our 0 and this is our x-axis, we go 6 units to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So nandito. So I hope nakikita ninyo ang ating arrow, okay, or ang ating cursor. Okay? Pag dumating ka na sa -6, punta ka naman ng 7 units for our y coordinate. And since it is +7, so we go up. If it is negative, then we go down. But since the given is +7, so we go up 7 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At dito ka maglalagay ng point at pwede mo na yung pangalan ng point A. Alright, so napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners, kung paano mag-plot ng point. So ganun lang din ang gagawin mo sa letter B or sa point B, which is located in -9, +1. So -9, dito pa rin yan sa left side. So 7, 8, 9, nandito yan. And +1, on the upper side pa rin yan. So you go 1 unit upward. So dito ka naman maglalagay ng point B.
Easy,
alright? So napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners, and I'm sure kayang-kaya na yang i-continue hanggang sa point K. Alright, so that is our first activity. On our second activity is, from the graph itself na ginawa natin dito sa activity 1, we will connect the points and then name the figure that is being formed. So if ever, number 1, we have A, B, C, A. So from A, you go to B, from B, you go to C, and then from C, you go back to A. So of course, since these letters are 4 pero dalawa dito magkapareho, so 3 letters lang ito. Of course, kung 3 letters lang yan, so that means you will be making a 3 vertices polygon. And what is that? That is a triangle. Okay, so napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners. How about this one? B, D, E, C. So 4 na magkakaibang letters, so that is a quadrilateral. So when we say quadrilateral, it could be different. So it could be a parallelogram, it could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be a rhombus, it could be a kite, it could be a trapezoid. So maraming klase ng quadrilateral. Depende sa nagawa ninyong pag-connect sa kanila. Okay, kung ano yung na-form. So if you want to know how to classify quadrilaterals, may video na naman tayo sa ating grade 9 playlist. Bakit? Because in the grade 9, one of the topics in the 3rd quarter, I think, is the classification of quadrilaterals at mas na-discuss doon ang pagpangalan or pag-classify ng mga quadrilaterals. Alright, so you just continue what you do here. You just connect the dots and name the figure that is being formed. Alright, and then we have the guide questions. So, did you plot the points correctly? Hopefully, my dear math learners. Did you identify the figures form? Hopefully din, my dear math learners.
Easy, right?
Yes, easy lang talaga. We have number 3. How did you identify the figure form? So, depende na yun kung ano yung na-form. Can you give the distance between B to C, B to D, and F to J? So, since this is talking about the distance of two distinct points, so dito na papasok si distance formula. Ang tanong, ano ba itong distance formula? So, when we say distance formula, this is practically an equation na ginagamit natin para makuha ang distansya ng dalawang pair of points in the coordinate plane. Okay, so let's say we have this line segment AB. Alright, AB, dalawang points na kung saan meron itong sariling coordinates, that is the x sub 1 and the y sub 1. And for our B, we have the x sub 2 and the y sub 2. So if ever you make a imaginary line for C, for point C, na kung saan si C is aligned with A and si C is aligned with B, technically makakagawa ka ng isang right triangle. Now, ano ba ang essence nito? Now, basically, if you compare the coordinates of A and C, pareho sila ng Y coordinate kasi they lie on the same y-axis, right? Okay, or y coordinate, which is here. That is positive 2 based on this given. Okay, so that is positive 2. Positive ang y coordinate dito, positive 2 din ang y coordinate ng C. Okay, now if we compare our B and our C, they also have the same coordinate and that is the x coordinate. Bakit? Because they lie on the same x-axis. So as you can see, or this x coordinate, that is positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say, ulit tayo, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that is positive 8. So this is positive 8, this is positive 8. Okay, so they are both lie. So now, if we try to compare the distance, if they lie on the same coordinate, like here, A to C, pareho sila ng y coordinate. Ang gagawin mo lang, my dear math learners, when you want to know the distance between these two, is to basically subtract them. Okay? Isasubtract mo lang ang x coordinate nila kasi yun yung hindi magkapareho, right? So, isasubtract mo lang tapos kukunin mo ang absolute value. Bakit absolute value? Because when we talk about distances, we are trying to get or lahat ng distances ay positive. So, therefore, there is no negative distances. Kung titingnan mo sa ruler, walang negative na ruler, right? So, lahat positive. So, basically, we just need to get the value. So, that is what we call absolute value. The same goes for B and C. They have the same x coordinate. So, ang gagawin mo dito is just to subtract the y coordinates. So, ang y nila ay hindi magkapareho. So, isasubtract mo lang yun and then get its absolute value. So, therefore, malalaman mo na din kung ano ang distansya. Of course, my dear math learners, since this has no numbers, so, technically, ang magagawa mo lang is representation of the difference and its absolute value. Okay? Pero pag merong value na yan, mas madali na lang. Okay. Now, kung ang tatanungin na naman natin is, paano mo makukuha itong AB? Okay, the distance between AB. So as you can see, my dear math learners, this is a right triangle. Now, the concept of the right triangle always apply the Pythagorean theorem. Yung A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared where A and B are the legs. Ito yon, A at saka B. Ito yung mga legs nila. Okay? And then, when you get the square of that, of each legs, you add them together and you get the square root, you will have your hypotenuse, which is this one. Alright? So, technically, in this case, since we are talking about the distance between 2 points, okay, with their respective x, y coordinates, ang gagawin mo lang is to substitute that formula or this given x and y to the formula of the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so ito na nga yun, my dear math learners. So, ito, ayan. So, ang gagawin mo lang is, isasubtract mo ngayon si dalawang x with each other, and then isasubtract mo din si dalawang y with each other, and then pagkatapos niyan ay kukunin ang squared ng both difference, tapos i-add mo sila. After mong ma-add is kukunin mo ang square root, and that is the distance. So, as you can see, this is the formula. So, distance or D is equal to the square root of the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared.
Easy, right?
Easy lang talaga. Pero I'm sure mas madali nyo matututunan kung paano kunin ang distance kapag meron tayong actual examples. Okay, so we have here example number 1. Alright. So we have here 2 points, the point P and the point Q. Ang point P ay makikita sa 1, 3 coordinates at ang point Q naman ay makikita sa 7, 11 coordinates. Oh, familiar sa 7, 11. Alright. Okay, so Anong gagawin natin dito? Madali lang, my dear math learners. Ang gagawin mo lang, ima-minus mo ang dalawang x at ima-minus mo ang dalawang y. So, minus natin, 7 minus 1, that is 6. 11 minus 3, that is 8. So, 6 and 8. Kukunin ang squared ng 6, kukunin ang squared ng 8. So, that is 6 squared, 36, 8 squared, 64. Then, you add them. 36 plus 64, that is 100. And the square root of 100 is 10. 10.
Easy, right?
Easy lang talaga, my dear math learners. And that will be the distance between point P to point Q. Okay, so ganun lang kadali, my dear math learners. How about another example? So we have here point A and point B. Point A is located at -2, +3. Point B is located at 3, -7. So, ano ba ang mga x natin? Ano ba ang mga y coordinates natin? So, ito yon, 3 minus -2. So, 3 minus -2, that will become 3 plus 2, that will become 5. Alright. So, we have 5 here. And then, we have -7 minus 3. So, -7 minus 3, that will give you -10. And -10 squared, that is 100. So, we have 5 squared as 25. We have 10 squared as 100. So, i-add mo silang dalawa. That is 125. Question is, what is the square root of 125? Is 125 a perfect square? Alright. So, hindi siya perfect square. So, anong magagawa mo dito? Pwede mo siyang i-break down into factors in which one factor is a perfect square. And that is 25 and 5 because 25 times 5 is 125. So, pag square root natin si 25, the answer is 5. Pag square root natin si 5, walang sagot yon. So, you just copy it, giving you the final answer, 5 square root of 5 units. Alright. So, napakadali lang talaga, my dear math learners. So, ganun lang ang gagawin sa pagkuha ng distance. Alright. So, now, let us go to the third example. Ito naman, iba. Palitin natin konti. Ayan. So, the distance between 2 points on a grid is 17 units. So, binigay ang distance. If one point has the coordinate -2, 10, alright, one coordinate given, and the other point has the x-coordinate 13, what is the y-coordinate of the second point? So, as you can see, my dear math learners, binigay ang isang point located at -2, 10. Ang second point naman, binigay ang x-coordinate. Pero ang nawawala ngayon is yung y-coordinate or yung y sub 2 natin. So, my dear math learners, ang gagawin mo dito basically is just to follow the distance formula and substitute it by the given. Okay, so our D, that is 17 units kasi the distance is already given. Distance between 2 points, 17. So, ayan, 17. Then the square root, okay, copy. So, x squared minus, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So, pangalawang x minus sa unang x. So, pangalawang x is 13 minus -2. Ayan. So, 13 minus -2, that will become 15. At ito na yon. Okay. So, we go with y. So, y sub 2, yun yung nawawala. Minus positive 10 because that is our that is our first y coordinate. Okay, and then you get the square. Okay, so ang gagawin natin ngayon dito is, what we will do is we will square both sides. Okay, so ito na yon. Okay, ito yon na part. Okay, ito yung pag-substitute natin. So when we simplify this one, this will become positive 15 squared. Okay, so 15 squared yan siya. And then, what we will do is we need to get rid. Ito, kailangan nating matanggal ang square root symbol na ito. So, in order to do that, we will square both sides of the equation. And that is the squaring property of equality. So, when we square both sides, masusquare si 17, kaya nga merong 17 squared dyan, pero matatanggal na ngayon ang square root symbol dito. Okay, maka-cancelled out na yan. So, giving us 13 plus 2, that is 15 squared. Alright. So, y sub 2 minus y sub 10, hindi natin masisimplify yan. So, we will just copy it together with its squared. Because since that is part of the formula. Okay, so 17 squared, when we multiply 17 to itself, the answer is 289. So, continue tayo. When we simplify 15 squared, that is 225. So, you just bring down your y sub 2 plus y sub 2 minus 10 squared. Okay, then we combine like terms, ililipat natin si 225 kay 289, so giving it with a minus. Okay, so 289 minus 225, the answer is 64. Alright, so as we can see, my dear math learners, dito sa part na ito, meron pa tayong squared. So, ang aim natin is si y sub 2 na lang ang maiwan. So, tatanggalin muna natin si squared dito, right? So, paano tanggalin si squared? We will square root both sides of the equation. So, makakancel ngayon dito ang square root at ang 2 or ang power of 2. Alright? So, bringing down y sub 2 minus 10. Of course, dahil nag-squared tayo sa left, since nag-square root tayo sa left, mag-square root din tayo sa right. Okay, so what is the square root of 64? That is 8. Okay, and then what we will do is we combine like terms. So, itatranspose natin si minus 10 to the right side, giving us 8 plus 10. And that answer is equal to 18 units. Or, sorry, 18. And that will be the coordinate. Okay, so y coordinate natin is 18. So, therefore, ang second point ay located sa 13, 18 na coordinates. Okay, and to answer the problem, since y coordinate lang ang tinatanong, y sub 2 is equal to 18.
Easy, right?
Easy lang talaga. So I hope, my dear math learners, ay marami na kayong natutunan paano kunin kapag nawawala ang isang coordinate sa dalawang points, and paano kunin ang distance between 2 points. Okay, at now ay pupunta naman tayo sa midpoint formula. Ano ba itong midpoint formula? So, kung si distance formula ay ginagamit para makuha ang distance, ang midpoint formula naman ay ginagamit para makuha ang coordinates ng midpoint. My dear math learners, ang tinatanong dito, or make sure na ma-remember nyo to, na ang midpoint formula is used to get the coordinates, not the distance of the middle, right? Okay? It is the coordinates of the midpoint. So when we say midpoint, that is basically the middle point between 2 points. Okay, example. So we have here K and L. Okay, so meron yan silang kaakibat na location. That is the coordinate. X sub 1 and Y sub 1, X sub 2 and Y sub 2. So para makuha natin ang midpoint, that is the middle point. So nasa gitna yan siya. And that will be our, let's say, point M. Okay, so paano mo kukunin si midpoint, or paano mo kukunin ang coordinates ng midpoint? Madali lang, my dear math learners. Ia-add mo lang ang dalawang x divided by 2. And for the y coordinate is ia-add mo lang ang dalawang y divided by 2. Ganon lang kadali, my dear math learners. Okay, so, Sir Ash, what if we could have some examples para mas matutunan natin ito? Alright, so we have here the example. So find the midpoint of a line segment DN whose coordinates are -1, -5, and 7, +1 respectively. So again, para makuha natin ang midpoint, ang coordinates ng midpoint, ang gagawin lang natin is i-add ang dalawang x. So that is 7 plus -1, that is +6. Divided by 2, that is +3. At yun na ngayon. Ito yun. Alright. And then for our y, we just add 1 plus -5, and that is -4 divided by 2, and that is -2. So therefore, we have here. So now, ang midpoint ng ating segment DN is located at 3, -2.
Easy, right?
Easy lang talaga, my dear math learners. Alright. So, ganun lang kadali, my dear. Okay, so now let us go to using the distance formula in proving geometric properties. Okay, so we have here the coordinate proof. So, paano ba mag-prove ng geometric properties in terms of using the distance formula? So, with the use of the coordinate proof, it used geometric properties in proving figures, okay, in the coordinate plane. Alright, so ano mga dapat nating i-consider? First of all, we use the origin, yung 0, 0, as the vertex or center of the figure. Okay? Pangalawa, we place at least one side of a polygon on an axis. So, ibig sabihin nito, kapag merong rectangle, example, isang side ng rectangle ay nakalay sa any of the axis. It could be the x-axis or the y-axis. And one of the vertex lies on the origin. Alright. And number 3, if possible, keep the figure within the first quadrant. So, sa first quadrant lang daw tayo, if possible. And pang-apat is to use the coordinates that make the computation simple and easy. Alright, so let's have an example, my dear math learners. We have example number 1. Prove that the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. So, ipoprove daw natin na ang diagonals ng rectangle ay congruent. Okay. So, using the methods of coordinate geometry. So, we have here rectangle dove. Alright. With diagonals DV, yan, and EO, ito. Alright, so I hope nakikita nyo yan. Yeah, okay, so, ayan. So, DV and OE ang mga diagonals natin. Okay, so paano natin gagawin ito? Of course, remember in a rectangle, the width, or sorry, the length are equal, the width are equal. Okay? So, kung gaano ito kahaba dito, ganun din kahaba dito. Kung gaano ito kahaba dito, ganun din kahaba dito. So, ang distansya ng D at O ay pareho ng distansya kay E at V. Ang distansya ng D at E ay pareho ng distansya kay O at V. Alright. So, if we try to make or to draw it in a Cartesian plane, of course, yung isang dot natin or isang vertex natin sa rectangle ay magiging origin. Okay, so let's say that is our E, 0, 0. Alright. So, let's consider that ang haba daw ng length natin is 6 units. Alright. So, 6 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, that will be our V. Of course, ang layo ni D papunta kay O is 6 units din. Okay? So, 6 units din ang haba dito. That's clear. For the width, let's say na 4 units daw ang width niya. So, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 units ito. And ito din daw ay 4 units. Okay, so of course, kung gaano to kahaba dito, ganun din yung ka-opposite niya. Alright? So, you have now your rectangle. Now, we will prove using this given na si DV, line segment DV, at si line segment OE ay magka-pareho ng sukat. Okay, so, using the distance formula, we will use here, okay, DV. Alright? So, using the distance formula, we will subtract the x's and the y's. We get the square, and then we add them, and then we get the square root. Okay, so, let's try. 6 minus 0, that is 6. 6 squared, that is 36. Alright, 36. 0 minus 4, negative 4. Squared mo sa negative 4, that is positive 16. So, 36 and 16. Okay, so that is here. Alright, so that is clear. Now, i-add natin si 36 at 16. That will give us 52. So, we have the square root of 52. Now, if we try to break down 52 into factors in which one is a perfect square, that is 4 and 13. So, the square root of 4 and the square root of 13. So, square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 13 is none. So, you copy square root of 13. So, you will have a final answer of 2 square root of 13 units. Alright, so napakadali lang. That is the measurement or the distance between D to V. Now, how about O to E? So, ganun din ang gagawin natin. 6 minus 0 for the x's, 4 minus 0 for the y's. So, that is 6 squared and 4 squared. So, that will give us 36 and 16. If we add them, that is 52, square root of 52. And then, same goes, we break down 52, that is square root of 4 and 13. And that is, in simplification, that will give us 2 square root of 13, which is just the same as our DV. Alright, so it means that the diagonals are congruent. We have just proven that in a rectangle, diagonals are really congruent by using the coordinate proof. Alright, so napakadali lang,
Easy,
my
right?
dear math learners. Alright. Okay, let's continue, my dear math learners. So we have here another problem. The diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. Okay, so we will prove that PU. Okay, diagonals pa rin. PU and LS are congruent. Okay, so paano yan, my dear math learners? Of course, gagawa ka ng trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid sa isang Cartesian plane. Remember that in an isosceles trapezoid, the legs are congruent. All right. So, for our first dot, that is our point S. Okay, so we will put it in our origin. Okay, so since it is an isosceles trapezoid, it means that the parallel lines are not equal. So ito yung mga parallel lines nila, PL and SU. So hindi sila equal. So therefore, we could have a longer side here and a shorter side here. Depende sa inyo. So either way, the answer is still the same. So let's say 6 units yung longer side natin. And our shorter base is, let's say, between our longer side. So let's say, nag-move tayo ng isa. So dito sa part na ito, mag-move din tayo ng isa para at least malaman natin na itong PS at saka itong LU natin ay equal because the distance is just the same. Okay? So pareho lang sila nag-move ng 1 unit. Okay? So 1 unit forward and 1 unit backward. Okay. Now, let's say na ang haba or ang height dito from the base is 4 units. Okay, so 4 units. So 4 units din dito. So the same length sila ng layo because remember, if parallel ang dalawang sides, the distance between them is equal. Okay? So they are parallel. So the distance between them is equal. All right. So we have here the same height. We have here different bases and they have equal legs. So bakit equal legs? Because we have the same distances na nag-move tayo. Alright. So ipoprove na natin ngayon na this L, S, and P, U are congruent. Okay. So of course, ang coordinate ng S natin is 0, 0. Ang coordinate ng U natin is 6, 0 because we use 6 units. Then since we move 1 unit forward from S and then we go 4 units upward, so our P is located at 1, 4. And for our L, basing from U, we move 1 unit before and then another 4 units upward, and that is 5, 4. Okay, so these are the coordinates of our points. Okay, for the isosceles trapezoid. Now, ipoprove na natin ngayon na itong si PU ay equal sa LS. Alright. So, the same pa rin, gagawa ka ng distance formula. Gagamit ka ng distance formula. So, 6 minus 1, that is 5. 5 squared, that is 25. Ito yun. Ayan. 0 minus 4, that is negative 4. Negative 4 squared, that is 16. Ayan. So, 25 plus 16, the answer is 41. So, what is the square root of 41? Pwede ba natin silang i-break down? Hindi na. Okay. So, let's just stay put at square root of 41 for our PU. So, now, let us try to test LS, the distance of LS. So, 5 minus 0, that is 5. 5 squared is 25. 4 minus 0, that is 4. 4 squared is 16. So, 5 times 4. 5 squared is 25 plus 4 squared, that is 16. So, 25 plus 4, that is 25 plus 16, that is 41. So, square root of 41. So, pareho sila square root of 41 units. Therefore, we can say that they are also congruent. Alright. So, napakadali lamang po, my dear math
Easy,
learners. Alright. So, now, we go with the part na kung saan kayo na yata ang sasagot dito. Okay. Ito, meron pa pala. Solving problems pa pala. Alright. So, solving problems involving geometric figures. Okay. So, a rectangle has a perimeter of 26 units. So, what does this mean? Ibig sabihin, length plus width equals 26 units. That is the perimeter. Okay. And an area of 40 square units. So, meaning length times width is equal to 40 square units. Alright. Now, if one vertex of the rectangle is the point negative 5, 3. Ayan. So, ito yun, negative 5, 3. What are the other vertices of the rectangle? So, paano mo malalaman ang other vertices? Of course, kailangan malaman mo muna ang actual dimensions ng length at width ng rectangle na ito na kung saan pag i-add natin lahat sila, 26 ang sagot. Pag i-multiply naman natin is 40. So ano ba ang factors ng 40? We have 4 and 10 kasi 4 times 10 is 40. Okay? We also have 5 and 8 because 5 times 8 is 40. Question is, which among the factors Question is, which among the factors 4 and 10 and 5 and 8 is the perfect fit for our perimeter having 26 units and area having 40 square units? Okay. So, let's try. 4 plus 4 plus 10 plus 10. So, 10 plus 10, that is 20. 4 plus 4, that is 8. So, 28. This is 26. Meaning, mali si 4 and 10. How about 5 and 8? So, 5 plus 5, that is 10. 8 plus 8, that is 16. 10 plus 16, that is 26. Okay, pasok. So, therefore, we can say na ang gagawin natin is 5 units and 8 units as the dimension of our rectangle. So, from here, pwede kang gumawa ng 8 units at 5 units. So, kung gusto mo papunta dito, so, you could use 8 units. So, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you make a dot. Mula na naman dito sa given, since we already used the 8 units, for the width, we will have the 5 units. So, move 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you make another dot. Of course, you make another 1 para tumama or maging perpendicular dito kay second dot at saka kay third dot. Okay, so that is here. And ngayon, papangalanan mo na ang coordinates. And that is in 3, 3, 3, negative 2, and negative 5, negative 2. Okay, so napakadali lang, my dear math learners. However, let's be open-minded. Baka tanungin nyo ako, Sir Ash, kailangan ba talaga na sa right side ako? Pwede bang sa left-sided? Pwede. So you can also make like this. So yung dot mo isa, which is here, and then you make 8 units to the left. So, pwede ka din dito sa left. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at ito yon. And then, since this is 8 units, of course, ang para dito sa width is 5 units. So, you go back or you go down 5 units. Pwede din you go up. Depende sa inyo. As long as one of the, anong tawag dyan? One of the coordinates is negative 5, 3, and the distance between the length is 8, and the width is 5. Okay, so maraming answers ang possible na sagot sa problem na ito. So let's be open-minded. As long as you use those dimensions, 5 units and 8 units, from the negative 5, positive 3 location, then you are good to go. Alright, so napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners. And now, let us go to the next. Okay, now here is the part na kayo naman ang sumagot. So that is the let us practice activity. Now, of course, mas madali itong sagutin kung meron kayong graphing paper, my dear math learners, lalong-lalo na sa coordinate proof. Pero if ever wala, you can do so in an intermediate paper, yellow paper. Okay, so we have here, find the distance between each pair of points on the coordinate plane. So, distance, you will use the distance formula. So, 14 minus 2, that is 12. 12 squared is 144. 8 minus 3, that is 5. So 5 squared, that is 25. So 144 plus 25, I think that is 169. You get the square root of 169, and that is 13.
Easy, right?
Easy lang talaga, my dear math learners. Okay, so I'm sure kayang-kaya nyo nang sagutin si number 2 at si number 3. Okay, so now let's go to letter B. Find the coordinates of the midpoint. O, coordinates ng midpoint naman. Of course, in this part, you will use the midpoint formula. So, paano ba kukunin si midpoint? I-add mo lang, divide by 2. So, 11 plus 5, that is 16, divide by 2, that is 8. 9 plus 7, that is 16, divide by 2, still 8. Therefore, the midpoint for number 4 is located at 8, 8. Alright, so napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners. Now, 5 and 6, I'm sure kayang-kaya nyo nang sagutin yan. Now, let's go to Letter C, write a coordinate proof to prove each of the following. Label the figure on the coordinate plane and give its coordinates to help you establish the geometric properties. Alright. The median, okay, median, ito yon, to the hypotenuse of a right triangle is half the hypotenuse. Okay. So the median, this one, the measurement of this one is half of this hypotenuse. Okay. So we have the triangle TRY. It is a right triangle. Alright. And then we have S as the midpoint. So paano yan siya, my dear math learners? So pag ilalagay mo ito sa coordinate plane, ito ang magiging mukha niya. Alright. So what you can do is you can test. So by just looking at this, you could have the 0, 0 here. And then you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So hindi siya gumamit ng actual points of the coordinates. Yung parang exact talaga. Yung integer talaga. Anyway, so you can make another way of this one. So you could have put this one here. Okay. The same. Dito naman, you could put it here. Okay? So basically, the distance of this one, kukunin mo. Ayan. Using the distance formula. And then, you also get the midpoint of these two para dito. And then, of course, kunin mo din ang distance nilang dito. From here, from the midpoint to the origin. Okay? And then, compare whether they are, it is half of the hypotenuse. And if it is, then you just proven the problem. Okay, so ganon lang po kadali, my dear math learners. Now, let us practice more. Ito naman, a study shed will be constructed midway between two school buildings. So, dalawang school buildings, sa gitna doon ang study shed. Okay, so, of course, madali lang. On a school map drawn on a coordinate plane, the coordinates of the first building ito, is 2, 4, and the coordinates of the second building is 16, 12. Okay, so 2 points. First building, second building. So you could have F and S. And then the study shed, let's say M, midpoint. Alright. So, question letter A. What are the coordinates of the point where the study shed will be located? So, of course, since the study shed is between or in the middle of the two buildings, you will use the midpoint formula. So, 16 plus 2, 18 divided by 2, that is 9. Alright? 12 plus 4, that is 16. So, divide by 2, that is 8. So, 9, 8 ang ating coordinate for letter A. Ayan, napakadali lang. Next, what is the distance between the study shed and the school building? Of course, since ganito ang question, what you can do is you can use the coordinates of the midpoint to one of the points, either by 204 or by 1612. Okay? So, using the distance formula. What you could also do is you can get the distance formula of these two and then you divide it by 2. So, there are two ways to solve this one. Alright? And then, for letter C, what is the distance between the two buildings? Ayun nga. Okay? So, if you use the second way that I just said, ayun, masasagot mo na din ang letter C question. And for letter D, if each unit of the coordinate plane is equivalent to 2 meters, so 1 unit is equal to 2 meters. So what is the distance between the two buildings? So kung ano yung nakuha nyo na distance dito sa letter C, times 2 mo lang siya para makuha mo ang actual distances between the two buildings. Alright, so napakadali lang po, my dear math learners. So, number 2, I think kaya niyang sagutin yan. That is, the height of a triangle is 11 units. It contains the vertex, alright? If the area of the triangle is 55 square units, so since area ang pinag-uusapan, you can apply 1/2 base times height. What are the other vertices of the triangle if it is found below the given vertex? Okay, so pwede kang gumawa dito ng isang right triangle. Okay? So, the vertex is here or the top. So, that is negative 2, 8. You go the 11 units below. So, since that is the height. And then, of course, you could apply the area So area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So 55 times 2, that is 110. Divide by 11, that will be 10. Okay, so your base as the distance is 10. So from the bottom of -2, 8, 11 units bottom, you can move 10 units to the right or 10 units to the left. Depende kung ano yung sagot ninyo. And that is the vertex, the next vertex of the triangle. Okay, so that's it. Kukunin nyo lang ang coordinates. Napakadali lamang po, my dear math learners. Alright. So we have here, write the coordinate proof. Okay, the same lang kanina. Tapos, ang gagawin mo is to prove RT and UI. Alright. So they should be equal daw. So this is an isosceles triangle. So when we say isosceles, that means that the two legs are equal. So FU and FT are equal. Okay, so of course you can put it in your Cartesian plane. Yan. So the distance between here, ayan, okay, the distance between here is the same as the distance between here. Alright? Ayan. So ngayon ang ipoprove mo is that this one is just the same as this one. So, paano mo ipoprove yun siya? Alright. So, technically, ang gagawin mo is, paano ba to? Isosceles triangle, FUT, or, okay. So, you get, what you will do is, the median of the legs of an isosceles triangle is congruent. So, you make a median here, and you make a median here. So basically, the middle of this one is right here. The middle of this one is right here. So you will have the coordinates of that one. And my dear math learners, what you can do now is to test yung coordinate dito from the coordinate here. You get the distance. And then you test the distance from here to here by the coordinates from the origin and from here. Okay? So katulad lang ng ginawa natin kanina sa coordinate proof. Alright, then we have here more problems. I'm sure kayang-kaya nang sagutin ito. We also have the rubrics for scoring. Okay, and then we have the remember. This is the generalization of the module na kung saan kailangan yung tandaan na kung saan the distance between 2 points should always apply the absolute value because distances are always positive. Okay. And then the distance formula is used, the midpoint formula is used for the midpoint, and the coordinate proof is used para i-prove ang mga coordinate or geometric figures in a coordinate plane in terms of their geometric properties. Okay, after that, you will have your post-test. And in this post-test, of course, the module considers that you already have learned the lessons. So, ABCD pa rin ang mga questions na ito, and these are 10 questions. So what you can do is try your best to answer them. Okay? And then after that, you have the performance task, the let us enhance with a given instruction and the rubrics for you to be scored. Okay? And finally, you have the reflection. So in this reflection, you just write 3 things, what you have learned about the lesson, and how you can apply the distance formula, the midpoint formula, and the coordinate proof to the real life situation. Okay? So if you do have some questions about our topic, my dear math learners, about midpoint formula and distance formula, you can freely do it in our comment section below. You can write your questions there, and as soon as I read it, I will try to answer, my dear math learners. I hope this has helped you in learning your lesson for the Quarter 2 Module 6. This is still your free access YouTube educator, Math Teacher Ash. And if you're still new, click that subscribe button. And if you think that this video can help other people, please do like and share this video to your fellow friends, classmates, and schoolmates. Always remember, my dear math learners, na masarap matuto ng mathematics kapag marami tayong nagsasama-sama. God bless, take care, and Keep safe always.
I will take a little trip over yonder, so I can take a look around at what you've seen.